Here's a memo for any woman who is worried about turning 40. Reporting from the other side, I'm 46, I'm here to tell you it's actually awesome. If your 20s and 30s are all about working out who you are and how you fit into the world, by the time you hit your 40s, you've pretty much worked all that stuff out. You care less about things that don't matter and more about being true to yourself. No apologies. This is No Filter, and my name is unapologetically Mia Friedman. I'm 46, as I said, and it's my favourite age so far. My guests today are two women who are also over 40. In fact, one of them just turned 50. Their kids are almost grown up and need them less, well, physically at least. Meanwhile, their parents are getting older and need them more than ever. Their bodies are changing, their friendship is strong, and they are bloody funny. Mandy, Nolan and Ellen Briggs are two comedians from Byron Bay who tour the country with their stand-up show, Women Like Us. Mandy Nolan is also a contributor to Mamma Mia and her posts are among my favourite on the site. She's hilarious. Between them, Mandy and Ellen have 7 kids. Publicly and privately, they discuss everything from menopause to moon cups. And because their conversations in their stage show have resonated so much to a group of women who society often glosses over, Mandy and Ellen have written a book that's also called Women Like Us. So if you're over 40 or just looking forward to your future, I think you're going to love the bejesus out of this conversation. It's a little bit different from the usual no filter interview that you might be used to hearing. It's more just kind of like 3 chicks chatting about what it's like to be over 40. I loved it. It was so much fun. The only thing that could have made it better was maybe a glass of wine. Here's Mandy and Ellen. Mandy, this is your life. You are an artist, comedian, author, writer, mother of 5, which never fails to blow my mind, and social commentator. You've taught comedy to over 1,500 people and you've been performing for over 30 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Ellen, according to Mandy, your favourite thing to do is to mow your 9 acres of lawn, which sounds delightful, actually.
It really is. Yeah, that's true.
Your husband works away 8 months of the year. You've got 2 teenage sons?
Yeah, twin boys.
Twin boys.
Yep.
And you write in the introductory chapter of Women Like Us about yourself, as I get older, I would rather be alone than be with people.
Yeah.
I hear you, sister.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I hope I'm not alone.
I wanted to start by asking how you guys met. I believe, Mandy, you were teaching Ellen comedy. I didn't know comedy was something that could be taught.
Well, you can't. Don't tell anyone. No, you can.
You can. What you can't teach is, like, I can't teach someone and say, okay, now you're going to be a comedian, but I can teach you how to find your voice. I can teach you the structure of how to write something, the places to go to, the emotions to engage, and I can encourage, a sense of what I think is appealing in you that someone's going to relate to. But the other stuff has to happen. So out of 1,500 people I've taught, I think 3, maybe 4 of them are working. And, the most successful being Hannah Gadsby, who got Best Show at Edinburgh last year, and Ellen Briggs, who I was smart enough to snaffle up before she took off and said, why don't we work together? So Ellen's, was immediately, when I was teaching, I went, wow, this woman's got a great voice. Like she has really... More because, like, she was unashamedly just saying what she thought, but she didn't realise that was funny.
Yeah. It shines through in the book. How old are you, Ellen?
48, nearly 49, yeah.
And Mandy?
I'm 27. No, I'm 50 now.
You're 50.
Proudly
We
50,
just had a fabulous 50th
did have a
of
fabulous
Mandy's.
50th.
I work with a lot of young women in their 20s, who are very freaked out about getting older, particularly about turning 30.
Wow.
That seems to be something that really freaks young women out. Now, I'm 46. I'll be 47 this year. And I'm getting more and more comfortable with my age and my stage. What is it about your 40s?
Were you ever freaked out about age? Because I can't remember ever being freaked out about it, to be honest. That's not really something that I ever really worried about.
But I think it's
Had
something
other things
now.
I was freaking out about.
Well, I think the messaging around validity and around the feeling of what your currency is in the market as your ambition and the time to make it and when you're going to partner and when you're going to have children is
the timeline.
It's the timeline of got to crash all this in. And I really never felt that so much as, women do drop off the abyss of aging. Like you'd sort of go, where are the women on television? They've gone. There is that feeling of the lost
Have they
women.
though? Because not
now, when we were younger.
Oh, when we were younger, absolutely. I mean, you look at Tracy Grimshaw, Lisa Wilkinson, Liz Hayes, Tara Brown, Virginia Trioli, Juanita Phillips.
Yeah, it's fantastic because...
Lili Chin.
Yeah, it's like for women to, fighting to stay in their industry, it's kind of like these are the women that fought to get through in the first place. And now they're still...
Ida Buttrose.
Yeah, they're still trailblazers now as they're getting older because they're trailblazing a place and a career for women as we age and maintaining our voice and not saying, well, now you need to just disappear because older women and the voice of older women is niche, it's not relevant and it's not universal.
What do you think...
It is.
What do you think something that younger women don't understand or might like to know about being in your 40s? Ellen, what do you think?
I think there's a real sense of comfort once you get into your 40s that you have found who you are. For me, anyway, I can only speak for me. But I really went, oh, I get it now. This is who I am. I've got to stop trying to think about who I am and just be who I am. And I think you feel more comfortable in that. And that's because you have a whole system set up around you. By that stage, a lot of women have had their kids. They've been in a relationship or two for quite some time, and so they know what they want out of a relationship. When you're in your 20s, you don't even really know what you want out of a relationship, do you? You're kind of still...
You don't know who you are.
Romanticising what you want out of a relationship. You don't even really know what the reality of a long-term relationship is going to feel like or be like. And that sort of stuff, that brings me great comfort. I've been with my husband for 25 years and that's probably my greatest achievement, to be honest, because the fact that he stayed.
The fact that you stayed. People are often really interested in long-term relationships. I mean, the average length of a marriage is 7 years. The average length of a relationship is probably much less than that.
Yeah.
What would you say to people about marriage that they might not realise going in or even just thinking about marriage?
Well, I mean, ours is different in a way because he's away for so long. He has a really high-profile career. He's a mechanic for Valentino Rossi, the MotoGP rider. And so he has this whole big fancy world going on.
So with Formula One?
MotoGP,
motorbikes.
MotoGP,
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Same thing, just
wheels
two
and
less
fast.
wheels. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that really?
And so really we've kind of got there against all odds, haven't we, Mandy? Because we've, when you're up against that...
Being apart. But do you think maybe that's why you have lasted as long as you have?
Certainly for me, because I'm such an independent person and I do really love being alone. I mean, even after a couple of days, when he's home after 6 weeks or something, he goes off and plays golf and I'll go and get on the mower or do whatever I'm going to do, and it's really nice just to be together at the end of the day.
But you're not sulky,
I would say,
though.
No.
See, some women... do that thing
and feel resentful.
Get that resentment, like, oh, it's okay for you. I'm here looking after the kids. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but if you'd fallen into that pattern, which it would have been toxic to your relationship, you wouldn't have survived if you'd done that.
His very successful
You've
career...
had to be quite together.
Yeah. His very successful career is in part because of me.
Well, you've had to be secure.
I'm part of that.
I think that's the main thing, is that you've had to be secure in your relationship and in yourself.
Yep.
And so often women don't, because they have that deep-seated self-loathing, and so they feel unloved and unlovable, and someone who obviously adores them, if they're away, they immediately get angry and resentful because they suspect that this must be a sign that something's happening, but you haven't done that. So.
No. And he's he's just
She does it to me.
Yeah, I leave that for my other husband, Mandy.
Mandy, you've got a blended family?
Yeah, I do.
How does it blend?
It's great. I've been really lucky with it. It's a complex. So I have 5 children to 3 different husbands. I always say I breastfed and all of my children for years, except my stepdaughter, because her mum got really weird about it. So my second daughter, so I've got a almost 23-year-old, a 22-year-old, and she's my stepdaughter, and she came to live with us when she was about 11, when I partnered with her dad, who I have my 8-year-old daughter with.
Yeah.
And then I have a 19-year-old daughter. So those first 2 daughters were from my first marriage. The second one, I had Charlie, my son, who's 17. And so blending is actually bringing all the ex-partners in as well.
I was going to say, tell me about how you work that, because it's not just who's living in your house at any one time.
It's so complex. Like you're just going... So it's all the exes and kind of managing the relationships with the exes. And so my most recent, my ex-husband and I have had our moments, but we have a really good co-parenting relationship, and we do Christmas together. We do events together. I can go and have a coffee with him and hang out and talk about the kids. It's really good. I mean, we still argue in a sense like we're still married, because we talk to each other in the way you'd never talk to someone that you didn't have that level of shared intimacy or a past with. So as long as, but there's a mutual respect and we're doing the same job. So that's been really important to me in a blended family, is realising that you don't just separate from someone and finish with you have to maintain a relationship, and you have to maintain a new complex relationship. Fortunately, my husband isn't jealous. Right. So if I had a husband that was...
Sorry, you've got... What husband are we up to now?
I'm talking my third husband.
So my partner is really...
So you've got 2 ex-husbands and a third
and
husband.
3 dads.
You believe in love, my friend.
I'm such a believer in hope.
Lovely.
I know, it's really cute. I've finally gone for, I've got better and better at choosing men that are functional, because I've been the one that
right. So each time you've upgraded.
I'm such a fixer-upper. I just go, I just give me I always say 5
It's
guys.
like a renovation rescue.
Did you giggle
I
a bit
love
when the
broken
celebrant said, "Till death do us part"?
I know, because I said that won't be long. We're not even death. We just...
It's like death or,
Yeah, she goes, well, I don't know. We can work on this, or we could move on. Next. It's a bit like a square dance. Change partners. No, I'm really happy. We've been together 10 years now, my husband and I. But he is, like, we've worked together to have a blended family. You have to allow these complex relationships. I always want to treat all the kids the same. I didn't want my daughter to come into the family, my stepdaughter. I don't usually call her my stepdaughter. That's why it felt weird even saying things. But how many children have you got? And I'd go 4. And then you go, that's awful. If I was Rachel, I'd be going, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Mandy's just got rid of me.
Apart from the breastfeeding, there's no difference.
Well, there is, because you're parenting, but you also... So it's been difficult. Sometimes we've parented up against my husband's ex-wife. Family had very different values to us. That was probably the biggest challenge at one particular time.
Because the children are going to different homes and
one
in
week
and out.
on, 1 week off, and coming back, and when some of the stuff that was coming up was a bit homophobic, or at different times echoing a different value system, that was really confronting. Like I'd never heard anyone talk about how you manage, a child that's, in
hearing
a family.
certain things and abiding by certain rules at one place and then coming back to
really
you.
different to what ours are. We're much more liberal, I'd say left-wing kind of thinkers, and with the kind of open view towards sexuality, towards multiculturalism. And the family that she lived with at the time, or her other family, had much more closed, probably more extreme to the right views, which we didn't share. And that was really hard to negotiate.
I imagine.
A pathway of how do we parent without, you don't want to undermine the other parents, but the values were terrifying us, as ours probably terrified them.
Now that your kids are older, something that I know I didn't prepare for or didn't really understand was that your kids need you more as they get older. People often think, once they're out of nappies and once they can do their own shoes up and stuff, the hard part of those first few years, and in some ways physically it is, and they rely on you a lot physically, but parenting teenagers is its own challenge, isn't it? What have you learned about that?
It's interesting you say that, because where we live, it's very much the opposite. Your kids get to 10 or 11, they're like, oh, you're done now. We can just go back to the ayahuasca.
That's right. It's time to party again.
Yeah, and so you've got a lot of these free-range kids who are really kind of out of control and looking for... I know that for my kids, I had to kind of renegotiate those boundaries again and go, okay, here's how it's going to be now. And still, all the time, mine is 17 now, nearly 18, and they're driving now, and they're, I've got really strange kids, haven't I, Mandy, that the drinking hasn't started yet. They're kind of nerdy without the academic results.
Ellen could actually trust them on their own, which is amazing. I can trust my son on his own, but my daughters, from the age of about 14, or 13, just as soon as they went to high school.
Yeah, we're hitting that now in our house.
I had left them alone for a night, or I wouldn't have done that at that age anyway, but if you'd gone, okay, I'll be home in about 3 hours, I always had to make an arrangement there was someone else there because they needed the boundary of someone else there, where like Ellen's sons, my son's so easy because I went, my God, it's amazing.
Mine are those kids I can leave a list and go, I'll be home at this time on Sunday, and that list needs to be done. I don't care if it's done an hour before I get home, but it needs to be done. And they'll always do it. They've been good, but I've definitely had to tighten the reins, because you do have that age like 8, 9, 10, 11 where it's beautiful and they don't want to do anything bad, and you can let them go a little bit, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, no.
But also the consequences of the decisions you make, if they're bad at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are not that bad.
That's right.
But the consequences you make as a teenager if you make a bad decision.
And that's what I've said to my kids. You just have to, when you're making decisions, just try not to make ones that are going to affect the rest of your life in a bad way or someone else's. And to be honest, if I look back, all the really bad decisions I made were when I was pissed.
Yeah, they were. And it is...
duh.
Yeah. So, just keep that in mind when you get pissed.
Well, yeah, and when you...
No one makes good decisions when they're pissed.
Oh, you think you are. But you end up with... I remember reading it, and I think I saw it was... I'm not a Dr. Phil fan, I have to say, but he did say something once because he's always so kind of...
He's got a few nuggets, Dr. Phil.
He had a nugget. He dropped a nugget, and it was one that stayed with me. It was Phil's main nugget around adolescence, is don't put someone, like an adolescent, an adult situation, expect them to make adult decisions. And I'm like, that's so true. And that's when because negotiating parties and all that kind of stuff. So I went through that thing of having to trust my parental intuition and instinct going, my girls would lie to me so much. And the fabric of deceit, that's then, social media is amazing. You tell your mum that we'll do that, we're going to go there, we're going to do this, that way it's fun, we've got the cover story. It's really hard. So it was like being a private investigator. So
we did that. You would have done that.
Yeah, but we didn't have social media.
No, we just did it on the phone.
Yeah, but it's much more complex. When
I'm staying at your house, you're staying at my house. We'll sleep at the Oval.
Yeah, but there was no way of... but you could
but we won't sleep.
But you could make a phone call and work it out. But they would actually... It's the web.
They're crafty.
The web was actually harder to get into. And I'd go in and I'd be saying something to my daughter and I'd go, why is she having such an attitude? Then I realised she's got it open. So all her friends were listening to me giving her a lecture.
So she was performing being
and they were
a
sending her
teenager.
stuff back, what she should say to me. That's the kind of stuff, when you're saying social... And I would get I'm having a fight with one girl getting scripted by, 7 or 8 people in the background. That used to make me ropeable.
How do you see body image as having a role in the life of women in their 40s and 50s?
It's funny because I was saying to Ellen, yesterday we were walking around, I was wearing a particularly low-cut dress, and I think because I'm 6 foot tall and blonde, and really, I'm a 95 kilo giant Viking looking blonde woman with boobs popping out. It's not how you expect a 50-year-old woman to be coming at you, and it's whether I look. When people say, "Oh, you don't look 50," I'm like, that's not a compliment.
Yes.
I don't like those kind of statements. I'm not ashamed of my age.
This is what 50 looks like.
This is what my 50.
For you.
This is what my 50 looks like because I haven't done this before, and I'm not going to shrink away and wear something that hides my body because I should be ashamed of my shape or my skin or the fact I've got broken capillaries. I've got great legs, but I've got broken capillaries. I still wear shorts. And it's kind of. I kind of like that. I wear a tight dress. I don't care if you can see the shape. I quite like the shape. You can see my tummy. I always do that joke now. I'm talking about my I say I don't really have because that whole microbiome thing where it's your second brain.
No. Oh yeah, your gut's your second brain.
And I go, I'm not a little bit. It's not that I'm fat. I'm just really intelligent. That's my second brain's got tummy. Bigger. No, I think.
Do you just give less?
Celebrate. No, I think
as you get older.
No, I don't.
No, I don't think.
I don't think you do. I think you care. But I decided not to be limited by it.
I think you care, but you realise that. I don't want to just go, right, time to just let it all go. I would still like people to say you look nice today, and I would still like to look in the mirror and see an image that I feel happy about. But I think you realise that it's not the most important thing. My looks aren't the most important thing about me.
And also looking nice doesn't mean you have to look 22.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
And I was a really, really good looking younger woman. You know what I mean? Like I know that. and I knew it at the time, actually, when I think about it, I knew that and probably played on it a little bit, you know. And so I've had that, and now there's so much more substance to me that sometimes I actually...
Did it feel like a loss? Do you feel, was there an awareness of a growing invisibility as you get older?
I think for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden this other stuff grows and you go, actually, that's okay. I've kind of, that part's done with, and this is who I am now. And it's stronger. It's fiercer.
Botox?
No
I
way.
wouldn't do it.
Not me.
I wouldn't know when to stop.
Did you think about it?
No.
I was just saying that it's the elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about, except the elephant's got no wrinkles. It's just completely, flat. But I feel like we're not having a big enough conversation about it. I feel like it's just rolled on through, and suddenly, women are puffing their lips up with fillers, and you're going, I can't talk like this because my top lip's so swollen. One of my daughter's friends come over and she'd puffed her lip up. She's only like 22 and it was all full of, it was when I first put the filler in, it's all bruised. And I went, you look amazing because I was being a bit mean, but it's the Botox. I feel like it's become something that we don't talk about, and our friends get it and you don't say, what did you do that for? Like I've actually got a friend that was really just a really stunningly beautiful woman. She still is, but she's had so much Botox. Her face has gone masky and it's lost its movement. And how do you tell her? You actually look older. You actually don't look like you anymore, and you've lost that beautiful you has been replaced by what looks like the doll's face of what an older woman is starting to look like. And I feel like we've got to wear our faces proudly, and I think it's up to women of our generation to not get Botox, and not to use that thing, well, I have to get Botox because I'm in the media. No, you don't. Look at Frances McDormand, like Ellen was pointing out.
We were saying that yesterday about, I can't take my eyes off her.
Yeah.
She has that amazing face. Well, you look at
she
her and
stands out in a room of Stepford Wives, doesn't she?
You look at her and say Jane Fonda. I think they're about the same age. Jane Fonda might be a little bit older.
No, Jane Fonda's 80.
Is she?
Yeah,
she's
Frances
a lot
McDormand's,
older.
I don't know, maybe 60.
Poor Frances.
Poor Frances, sorry.
But that's yeah.
My eyes are drawn to Frances, and she just immediately seems more interesting.
Jane Fonda's
to me.
about the same age as Helen Mirren.
Okay,
Right.
well, there you go.
Helen Mirren
there
looks
you go.
amazing. So
She's had work, but she's had work that
subtle.
doesn't
Much.
more subtle. But it's hard, isn't it? Because I look as I get older, I look for examples of how I should look. I look to older women to say, okay, how do I want to age? What does it look like to be in my late 40s? What's it going to look like to be in my 50s? And certainly in popular culture, in on red carpets, I don't see any examples of that.
You don't even see it. And it's less and less. And when you look around, I mean, I'll often be doing my stuff on stage about Botox, and I look around and I can see women in the front row, and I feel bad because I don't want to hurt their feelings, but I still want to have the conversation. I can see they're fully Botoxed, and I can see them laughing with a sense of discomfort, because you're going, just think about, we are handing this narrative on to young women about a sense of shame. And then there's that, I hate that word, choice. It's my choice. I choose to do this. And you're going, you don't choose. Choice, it's not a supermarket, Choice is manufactured. It's like, it's a manufactured idea because of what you see and what you believe makes you, it gives you currency. What you feel is going to keep you beautiful.
Yeah, there's a real sadness behind it, I think.
it is
that
really sad.
when you're thinking that you have to do that to remain relevant in your life. I think there's a real sadness in that.
So that's why we are very, and when we sort of write in our book and when we do stuff in our show, we're really around, embracing and celebrating who you are, and having the courage to talk up. I think we have to be quite militant that we're not doing that. But it's a hard line. Like, I'll go to the beautician and get waxed. I'll
dye your hair.
I'll
cut
dye
your
my hair. Exactly. So I'm a hypocrite.
Yeah, I know. It is a hard slippery slope.
Because you go,
well,
okay, people go, well, you do that, you do this.
And you get your teeth fit. You want to get your teeth fixed, or you bleach your teeth.
But eventually I will let myself go grey. I'm not going to do it yet. I'm not all grey yet. I'm only patchy. I'm just a bit patchy. When I'm consistently grey, I'll go. But I think it's an ongoing conversation that we have around how are we going to show ageing and potency as women as we age, that we are powerful, that we have a voice, which we very much do. And I think, I think our faces are incredibly important for that. And I don't want someone to look at me,
But every time you look at a man, you're not looking at him and going, do you look your age? Are you attractive? Why do we do that to women? Why? Or she's aged well. How old do you think she is? I mean, they're the questions we ask about
And no
women.
one will say to a man, "Oh, you don't look 50."
I know, isn't that just horrendous?
Whereas that's an inherent compliment.
A
isn't
man,
it?
you'll go, oh, look at him, he's a bit of a silver dragon. Like, it's kind of, he's real handsome.
What I really love about getting older is losing the shoulds. Like, I should be more social, or I should be less fat, or I should be less loud,
Yes.
or I should be less opinionated.
Yeah.
It becomes I am.
Yeah. Or I don't.
Yeah.
Or I won't do that. 'Cause
No, thanks.
I felt like I felt like all that period in my 20s into my 30s and a little bit beyond that, it was like being in this, you're trying on who you are. You don't know who you are. So it's like a change room. Like, you go into a shopping center, you're changing on. Is this what I look like? Is this me? Am I kind of like, is this the look I have? Are these the values I have? Are these my friends?
Yes.
Is this my hair color? I'm blonde. No, I think I look better with dark hair. I think I'm dark hair. I'm more serious. Do I do this? Is this my career?
You talk about it as being like the change room of life.
It's like a change room of life. Yeah, you keep changing. This is my change room of life. I'm in here now and I'm this and I'm that. And there comes a point where you come out the change room and you went, nah, this is it. Like, even sometimes you
This
go,
fits perfectly.
Ooh, I
but
like it.
But you know what? It's not even that you go, oh, that looks amazing. You go, this is who I am.
It's comfortable.
Yeah, this is the
Go,
best me.
It fits and
you know
it's
what?
comfortable.
My bum does look big in this, but I got a big bum.
Yeah, exactly. It looks big in everything.
It's big.
What about menopause? Tell me what to expect. Is anyone there yet?
No.
No.
Oh,
We're still
you're
hanging
useless.
on. I know.
Yeah,
sorry.
no.
I'd
Are
love
you
to
a bit
too.
peri?
I
I
did-
think I might be a bit peri.
Well, we were talking about this yesterday. When does peri start? Like, is that at birth?
I think we are
that's true.
definitely.
No, I
we're
think it's-
peri.
They say when you experience various changes. So, for example, periods getting much heavier in your 40s.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
happened.
that's all happened.
Yeah,
but I have
that's
I've
happened.
had an IUD in now.
Yeah,
for,
so did I. I got that too.
Yeah, I'm on my third, so it's probably nearly 15 years.
Yeah.
And the doctor said if I keep it in,
Yeah.
I probably won't even realise that I'm going through
won't know.
menopause.
Really?
Yeah, so it's staying until I'm
She's
80.
gone, keep it in there.
So keeping it in, like, just keep getting it changed.
Yeah, every 5 years. You just keep getting it changed. I did say to my husband the other day, because I was really sweaty.
Yeah.
And I said, I think I might be starting to get menopause. I'm really sweaty, like I'm really starting to sweat.
Yeah.
And he goes, Ellen, it's really friggin' hot.
Yeah.
And you go, well,
It's not
that's,
all about
true.
you.
You
It's the
can't
weather.
tell. I had the period things true because I'm still in the menstruation cycle, but I am changing, and it is really true. Like, I must be peri. I had this happen not that long ago. It was one of those, when you get your period as a young girl, and it's always in the first year. It's hard to manage because you never know when it's coming. You don't read your body, and so you're that poor girl that's bled on herself again. It's at school, and everyone goes, "Oh, look at you." It's shameful. And so then you go through your whole adult life. Always, you wake up and you know when the day is of your first period, and you're always in control of it. You manage it. This is what happened. Then, like recently, I was emceeing a function for the Yes campaign. It was a big, colourful day. I'd driven a long way. It had a jumpsuit on, like a strapless jumpsuit with all Technicolours for the Yes. And I'd driven 3.5 hours to get to the gig, go to the bathroom at a hotel that was across from this open-air gig. And in the car somewhere on the way, I'd got my period without any signs from my body, but not just got it like I'd been in some sort of gun battle. Like someone had shot Mandy in the vagina and she had bled up to the waistline. And it was like and the fact I'd walked through the pub and I hadn't even looked down because I walk I'm a real proud walker. I walk in like this and I am just dripping. I get into the bathroom and I go, oh my God. Yep. So I have to throw my undies away and it's a bathroom. So I've got a jumpsuit on, right? I have to wash the jumpsuit in the sink. God. It's daytime in a pub. I'm standing naked with 2 daughters. One is 8 who I haven't told about periods yet because I've done it so many times I forgot to do it. And the other, and she just sees her mother washing blood in the sink with a jumpsuit, naked. And the other one goes, oh my God, Mum's so embarrassing. I went, go and buy tampons. Come back. We've got to have a talk to Ivy. Fortunately, and then when I put the tampon in, and I was wearing polyester, and with a bit of a wind, it dried real fast.
Oh, that's a win.
Undies. And then I told Ivy, my 8-year-old, I said, Mummy, this is what happened.
It's a lot to take in.
And she couldn't stop laughing. She goes, really? Wow. And I think it was actually good because she saw me out of control. Like, she saw me happen to me. I was laughing, horrified.
But dealing with
but
it.
dealing with
Yeah.
it, and it was clearly, it wasn't like super organized. You don't see anything. You don't, like, I
Yeah.
was like a teenager. I was so embarrassed. Like, a woman came in when I was in the bathroom naked. I was just doing my washing.
But it happens.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like I said to someone the other day, I feel like I'm getting worse at having my period.
I know.
In my 40s, even though I've had it for like 30
Should be good
years.
at it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets harder.
Have you tried the moon? I haven't done the moon
No,
cup.
I'm not doing the moon
I'm
cup.
not doing the moon cup. I'll do a coffee cup, not a moon cup.
Aging parents.
Yeah. Yeah. Right in
That change of being sandwiched between younger children, and then finally they age up and they start becoming teenagers at the same time that your parents' needs increase.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Yeah, oh, it's not great. Poor old mum, she's, now in a nursing home and kind of non-verbal, paralysed, had a massive stroke.
I'm so sorry. That must be so hard.
It's horrendous. Well, the hard thing for me, of course, seeing her like that, but like I talked about it in the book, my relationship with my mum was really difficult. So then to try and reconcile those feelings, and none of that was ever resolved with her, to now this woman who she is today. I mean, nobody with any sense of decency would go in and try and resolve any of that now.
Yeah.
That's done. So I have to try and resolve that myself.
So you're sort of robbed of that closure, I guess, of being able to tell her how you feel and reconcile.
And my mother, during this time that she has become really ill, some really incredible secrets have been resolved. In fact, that I have several other siblings.
Whew.
And she can't talk about that now. And so there's a whole lot of stuff
you
that
in
my
touch
mum
with them?
will continue. I can be. I haven't yet. I'm not really ready to do any of that yet. Well, yeah, it's interesting. We talk about it a lot, don't we?
Yeah,
Mandy?
it's one of those ones we go, oh my God. It's so
It's been
huge.
That's huge. That's been really difficult, and just so trying to deal with that. That's all something that's going on in my mind all the time. How am I going to deal with that? Because I can't deal with it with mum. I have two other sisters that I grew up with, and one of them has been in contact. And she's pretty good with it. She's always been good with just dealing things and getting them over and done with. My other sister and I are very similar. We internalise a lot of things. But yeah, so that period when my dad was dying, I was really close to my dad, and that was really hard because I had these children who were tugging at me one way for their needs, rightly so. That's what you do as a mum. And then all of a sudden, my dad had always been the dad and I was his little baby girl, and all of a sudden I'm having to care for him.
And he'd
So
kind
it
of
was
protect
really-
you a bit from your relationship
Definitely.
with your mum.
I didn't
He was your buffer.
Yeah, I actually didn't realise how hard he had to work.
Yeah.
It's interesting getting older as your relationship with your parents does change, and the
Yeah.
power balance, I guess, the power
Well,
dynamic.
Yeah. And like fighting for Ellen, because she found out stuff that was so, like, answered questions in our conversations about why she'd always felt there was a distance in the relationship and why she'd felt, intuitively something was going on. Because that generation were a generation of secret keepers.
Yeah.
And
And there was so much
the
shame.
sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and they
like
didn't-
what she has been through.
But you don't even get to share that. You don't even
No.
get to, and for Ellen to say, she can't even say now, tell me the story because I'll forgive, accept, and love you.
Yeah.
It's just
The
not going to
story's
happen.
gone.
And because what it probably
Story's gone, yeah.
Because what it probably means is that's probably why my relationship with my mum was so fractured, because she couldn't love these other children. She couldn't do that after the pain she'd been through. So that explains a lot of things to me, and I'll certainly tell myself that because that helps. But I was always so envious of other mothers who were so beautiful and loving. And look, she was never cruel. She was never ever cruel, but she was never one of those mothers that I would go, let's hang out with my mum. I'll even go shopping with my mum. That was always a nightmare because she was so upset and angry and just distant all the time. I couldn't even say, people say, what was she like? It's very hard to say who she was. She was a master at keeping all of that locked away for so long.
So I imagine it can be hard to kind of grieve or even preemptively grieve for someone that, it makes it even more
Yeah.
complicated,
Well, yeah.
doesn't it? I've seen that happen with a few friends.
Yeah, you're grieving for someone that you don't even really know. But I do.
Yeah.
But I do have to. On the other hand,
You're grieving
have to
for the
be-
relationship you also didn't get to
Yeah,
have.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. But I do have to, like I say to my sisters, we all three of us have grown up to be pretty amazing women, and she has to be partly responsible for that. My dad's also responsible for that, but she has to be partly responsible for that. We can't completely dismiss her role in our lives.
And you also I think as you get older, I forgave my mother a lot for stuff that had happened when I realised it's so hard. And the mistakes, I just watched myself making mistakes with my own kids. Like, I said I'd never perpetuate the same story, on my kids. And the first, within 2 years, I'm living in a relationship where my small child's experienced domestic violence. And I've perpetuated a whole, by choices that you don't even see coming. And you go, oh, my God, I have lined up the ducks and given a replica of what I was angry at my mother for giving me.
There is a real degree of forgiveness as you get older.
You have to really forgive it is, and it's really easy to say, well, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do that. And there is an unresolved amount of I suppose it's the humanity of fragility and of our constant sense of walking into the same thing that we've done, like over that repetition of mistakes, that walking into the known, when sometimes without even realizing what you're doing. And I think that helps you love and forgive as much as you can, because you have to do it for yourself.
You have to.
As a parent,
When you were younger and you imagined being 50, what did you imagine and how is it different?
I remember my grandmother at 50, and my grandmother at 50 was like, she was Ivy Nolan. She was a country girl brought up by timber getters because her mother died when she was young, so she was brought up by men. She'd lived in them. She was a mountain woman, and she'd always sit with her legs apart, with her skirt up, with her kind of veiny legs. It was always like, oh my God, I wish my grandmother would pull the skirt down. She always sat in this way that was so unladylike, and I always remember it was all those Austie frocks. It was kind of what you wore when you were a certain age, and to me, that's what 50 was. So I never imagined myself with an age. So I have to admit, it's funny, I've ended up with heaps of kids and all that because I was never maternal. I never had a projection. I really want to be a mum, but I adore children. I love being a mum. That was a surprise. It's funny, the age thing, it's probably a bit like Ellen. I still now have to go, how old am I again?
Yeah, I agree. It becomes less and less meaningful as you get older, doesn't it?
I think as a kid, I don't think everyone looks at 50 and thinks
I thought I'd be
old.
dead,
My
I guess.
kids say it now.
30 was old.
Yeah, my kids will say, because they both work in a supermarket, and they'll say, oh, so-and-so did this, and I go, how old was that person? They go, oh, like old, like 50.
Yeah.
55, and I just start
so
twitching.
old.
So I think you think it's going to be really unfun.
Yeah.
But now that you're there, it's actually no different. I don't actually feel any different physically to how I felt when I was 30. Well, the best thing is that sense of your identity. This is who I am. And you know what? I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, I was talking about my husband last night, and I said he's the most confident person I've ever known in a very, not in an egotistical way, but he has always said things like, Ellen, this is who I am. If that person doesn't like me, then I can't change that, and I'm not going to work to change that. Like this is who I am. Like it or leave it. And I'm finally at that point.
Yeah.
Well, I used to be such a people pleaser, and I wanted everybody to like me. And now I kind of go, I've actually got enough. I've got enough of everything. I've got enough people. I've got enough love. I've got enough satisfaction in everything I do that I don't need anymore. So if you don't like me, then that's fine, and have a good day.
Well, and you don't moderate. Like
I never had that. I used to just want everyone to love me.
And it's a powerful comedy does that for you too, where I don't care. Like people can say vile things to me, and it's amazing. I have the stuff I get trolled on social media by something. And it's amazing how it has maybe when I was 30, that would have really hurt me. You can call me, people say things like, who'd want to rape you? Oh, you're fat and you're ugly, or the usual stuff that they do. It's the same stuff, and sometimes might be more complex, more complex insults. But it's really funny how that doesn't affect you because because I know what they're doing, and I know their reaction is that's how they've always tried.
It's not about you, it's about them.
That's your response is more intelligent as you get older.
Society has always tried to shut down women. And my thing is I get older, because I say as a woman who's 50, my only regret about being 50 is that I've always been really
militant and, want to see change. I want to facilitate change. I was a feminist at 17. And my only regret is that things haven't changed enough. My regret is that I've become complacent because you fall in, it doesn't matter. Oh, I can't change anything. And I think as we age, and if you share those kind of values, I think it's incredibly important to become more dangerous, not less.
More power to us.
Yeah.
I know. Thanks, you two.
Thanks,
Beautiful
Mia.
to meet you
Thanks for
finally.
having
We
us.
didn't even ask you anything about you.
Thanks for listening to No Filter. If you want to see Mandy and Ellen's live show, head to womenlikeus.com.au, and this is where you can also buy their book, as well as at apple.co/Mamma Mia, where you will find so many books written by so many guests that we've had over the, 200 episodes? Liz is the producer of No Filter. Eliza Ratliff is her formal title. And I'm Mia Friedman. See you on the homepage at mammamia.com.au. And if you want to talk about this podcast, it's a little bit, I think, with podcasts like after you've read a book, sometimes you just want to go and talk to other people who've also read the book. So we've got a Facebook group for our podcast listeners. It's called Mamma Mia Out Loud, and we talk about that show, but we also talk about No Filter. I sometimes hijack that Facebook group and talk about this show. So by all means, head over there. It's a closed Facebook group, so just search up Mamma Mia Out Loud on Facebook.